Hello YouTube, welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about my ER build and just kind of explain what you should be focusing, kind of just go over the artifacts, the stones, all that good stuff. So you kind of have a better understanding of what makes the ER build so strong. Great, so the first thing that you want to do, which is kind of obvious, is your auto forging. So the first thing you want to do when you log in is set this condition 1 here to ER. You don't need to mess around with the second one. Check off this box and set your filter. Now the reason I have my filter set to Peerless, even though I have all Peerless gear, is because sometimes I can get a slightly higher ER stat from my Peerless gear that I get from forging, and I won't be missing out on any origin gear, so I don't have to worry about that. So Peerless is just kind of go-to. And yeah, so let's get started on all of this good stuff up here. So the first thing to talk about would be artifacts. So when you summon or super refresh artifacts, you're gonna roll different stats. So obviously what you want to look for is ER. I have this silver key here with an ER stat on it, and the reason I have 2 ER stats is because of this purify feature. So what happened was I had 2 artifacts with the ER stat, and that's kind of overkill. So you can come up here to purify, and you can select here the artifact that has the ER stat that you want to swap over to the new one. On the left you can select the stat to replace, and on the right you can select the stat that you want to keep. And it requires 1 purifying stardust, which is very hard to get a hold of. I'm level 136 and I've only ever gotten 1, so definitely difficult to get a hold of, but you shouldn't need to worry about that too much as a new player especially. Yeah. So that's it for artifacts. We can talk about secret stones now. So the number 1 secret stone that I have found for an ER build is Eternal Energy. Upon triggering ER, increases attack by 14% for 3 rounds. Very, very good for ER builds. Definitely want to have this one inlaid. As for the other 2 stones, these are just kind of general skills that are useful for any type of build. So this one restores HP, that's Awakened Echo, and the Infinite Karma, immune to burn and reflects 7.5% of damage. So just solid stones to have on hand. There aren't any other really ER focused stones. So this is just kind of the loadout that I'm using. Just definitely make sure you have this Eternal Energy inlaid if you have it. Other than that, the other 2 stones you can just kind of throw on whatever else you think is necessary, or you can just copy what I have going on here. So yeah, that's good for stones. Moving on to Zodiac cards. You won't unlock these until level 120, but if you are level 120 and do have them unlocked, they're definitely very useful. So when you stargaze, which is basically how you summon your artifact or your Zodiac cards, what you want to look for is this right here, the Gemini card. This is the best card to use for an ER build, and that's because of the skill here. When ER is triggered, attackers' attack and defense will be reduced by 11% for 2 rounds. So very, very useful for ER builds. The only reason I'm not using it right now is because my Ares card just has some better other stats, and the ability is pretty good. Kind of the same as Secret Stones, where it's just a solid ability for any build. Does damage and has a chance to stun targets. It's just a solid all-around card. Once I get a higher rarity Gemini card, then that's what I'll be using. So let's say that you get a Gemini card. but it doesn't have this ER additional attribute. What you can do is come down here to polish and then hit added attribute, and you can re-roll for different added attributes. So if you don't have an ER stat here, you can just hit polish. It'll give you 3 more random stats and hopefully an ER one. If not, you can just keep rolling until you get one. If you do get an ER stat, it's really low, like 1.5%. Go ahead and keep it, and you could definitely just keep polishing until you get a higher one. So yeah, pretty good for Zodiac cards. Just polish it till you get that ER stat. Hopefully you can get a high rarity Gemini card. Cool. So we'll move on to pets now, which is actually very important because these are going to be assisting you in battle greatly. For ER builds, what you want is attack and backline. As far as I know, there aren't any frontline attack ones, but just keep an eye out and make sure that it's backline and that it is attack. So basically your character is a tank, not really a tank, but it's going to be basically blocking for your pets so that they can do all of the damage that they need. So what I'm using right now is Little Flame. That's just what I have on hand. You might not have the S quality pets yet. If not, just use whatever you've got, Moonshadow, Sakura Dragon, they're good. And if you do get lucky with mythical or extraordinary pets, hopefully you get more attack pets like this. I would say it's definitely better. Let's say I have the Snowy Ursine mythical. I would still prefer to use the Little Flame legendary. It's a lower rarity, but it is attack, whereas Ursine is defense and frontline. I really want to focus on having that back rank attack. Unfortunately, I did have a coral, but I accidentally synthesized it, so I'm just rocking with the Little Flames for now. But yeah, so in essence, attack, back line, more important than rarity. Yeah. So another thing is your equipment, your actual gear. Now, you may notice at the bottom here, when you click on your equipment, every piece will have a boost to a different stat. Gloves are the only piece of equipment that will boost your ER stat when you enhance them. So this should be your main focus. At level 15, I'm getting a 15% ER boost, which is really good. At the point I'm at right now, it takes 6 enhancement stones, and I only have a 9% chance of it being successful. So at this point, I definitely could enhance some of my other equipment, not too much, maybe up, somewhere between 5 and 10, but you don't need to go high. The reason you could do this is because it boosts your base stats. 20% here for level 4 is pretty good. So it's just a nice little boost to your base stats. Even though they're not as important, you may be very unlucky with your enhancing. So yeah, focus gloves. If you want, put a little bit extra into the other equipment. Not really as important. Yeah. So the last thing I want to talk about is trope hunts and your gem collection. So when you actually are mining or hunting, you're going to retrieve these gems here, and each category of gems, so a Nemo, Pyro, Electro, Hydro, and Geo, kind of have a general stats that they're going to give you. So Geo Gem, it seems, gives you just resistance stats. Hydro, Nemo, they just give you base stats. What you want here is Pyro Gems. Those are very important because that's what's going to be giving you your ER stat. So I'm getting a nearly 13% ER percent just from Pyro Gems. So if you would like, rather than manually mining or hunting, if you have the auto hunt unlocked, which I think is $10-15, And it comes with this privilege card that just gives you 50 extra hunts, upgrade tools for your hunt tools. So kind of handy. So you can come down here to auto hunt, set this to pyro, and go ahead and start it. I have it set to legendary. The same thing as the auto forge. I have legendary pyro gems, but I have a chance of getting a higher ER stat off of that. I actually just got one today. So yeah, it's a pretty nice little boost. And I believe that's about everything that you might need to know about having an ER build and how to boost it. If you've got any questions, comments, or any other info that may be helpful to new players or people focusing ER builds, it would be very helpful to put them in the comments below. So thanks for watching, guys.